Did you know that a staggering 90% of people repeatedly make the same grammar mistakes? It's not just you. If you've ever struggled with English grammar, you're certainly not alone. Today, I'm going to share my personal journey of how I transformed my grammar struggles into a success story. I used to find English grammar incredibly challenging. Whether it was confusing homophones, getting subject-verb agreement wrong, or misplacing commas, it seemed like an endless battle. I vividly remember failing a test because I mixed up there, and there. It was so frustrating, and at times, it felt like I'd never get the hang of it. But then, things began to change. I discovered some fantastic tips and tricks that completely turned things around for me. The first thing I did was start using online resources like grammar checking tools and educational websites. Websites like Grammarly and Purdue OWL became my go-to sources. They provided clear, concise explanations and examples for every rule I struggled with. These resources were like having a grammar tutor available 24/7, ready to help whenever I needed it. In addition to using online tools, I started reading actively. This means I didn't just read for pleasure. I also analyzed the text. I'd highlight sentences and break them down to understand their structure. I began reading books with a highlighter in hand, marking interesting sentence structures or words I wasn't familiar with. This active reading approach helped reinforce correct grammar in my mind and made the rules stick. Practice was another crucial element of my improvement. I dedicated time each day to write something, anything. I wrote essays, short stories, and even journal entries. After writing, I'd review my work for errors. I looked specifically for common mistakes I knew I made, like subject-verb agreement issues or misusing punctuation. This regular practice helped me internalize the rules and see my progress over time. One of the best things I did was discussing grammar with friends. We formed a small study group where we'd correct each other's mistakes and learn together. It was like having a grammar study buddy who was always there to support you. We quizzed each other on tricky rules and shared tips and tricks we found useful. This peer learning was incredibly effective because it made grammar a fun and interactive experience rather than a solitary struggle. A major breakthrough for me was learning mnemonic devices. These are memory aids that help you remember certain rules. For instance, to remember the difference between effect and effect, I used the phrase A is for action effect and E is for end result effect. Simple, yet incredibly effective. Another example is for it's versus its. Just remember, it's is short for it is, while it shows possession. For who versus whom. A quick trick is to think about replacing them with he or him. If he fits, use who. If him fits, use whom. As I continued to practice and refine my skills, I realized the importance of variety in learning. I started reading different genres, fiction, nonfiction, articles, blogs, you name it. This variety exposed me to different writing styles, vocabulary, and sentence structures. It broadened my understanding of how grammar is used in different contexts. I also began keeping a grammar journal. Every time I learned a new rule or made a mistake, I wrote it down. This journal became a valuable resource for tracking my progress and identifying areas that needed more focus. It doesn't have to be fancy, just a simple notebook where you jot down rules, exceptions, and examples. The real turning point came when I combined all these methods. I was no longer intimidated by grammar. Instead, I saw it as a puzzle that I could solve with the right tools and strategies. For example, Subject-verb agreement became much easier once I understood the basic rule that subjects and verbs must agree in number, like the dog barks versus the dogs bark. Another tricky area was homophones, words that sound the same but have different meanings and spellings. My solution was to create flashcards with the word, its definition, and a sentence using it. Practicing these daily helped me avoid common mistakes. Continuous improvement became my mantra. I understood that grammar is not something you master overnight. It's a skill that develops over time. Here are some steps I took to ensure I kept improving. 1. Regularly reviewing my grammar journal helped reinforce the rules I had learned. 2. Taking online quizzes tested my knowledge and highlighted areas I still needed to work on. Websites like Quizlet and Khan Academy were excellent resources for this. 3. Writing daily, whether it was a journal entry, a story, or an essay, and paying close attention to feedback from others. Constructive criticism was invaluable because it provided insights into mistakes I hadn't noticed. 4. Reading a wide variety of materials and paying attention to different writing styles. This not only improved my grammar but also enriched my vocabulary and overall writing skills. Feedback from others played a crucial role in my learning process. I didn't shy away from constructive criticism. Instead, I embraced it as an opportunity to grow. Understanding my mistakes and learning from them was key to my progress. Moreover, I made it a point to keep reading. The more I read, the better I understood how grammar worked in different contexts. It was fascinating to see how different authors used language and how sentence structures varied across genres. I love interacting with you all, so feel free to drop your grammar questions in the comments. I'll try to answer as many as I can in future videos. So, to recap, use online tools, read actively, practice regularly, discuss with friends, and use mnemonic devices. With these strategies, mastering grammar is totally achievable. Remember, it's all about consistency and practice. Grammar isn't something you learn overnight, but with dedication, you'll see improvement. Here's a quick look at my progress over the past year, from failing tests to acing them. It's been a rewarding journey. If you found these tips helpful, don't forget to like this video, share it with friends, and subscribe to my channel for more grammar tips. Keep practicing, and you'll be a grammar pro in no time. Thanks for watching. See you next time.